Two wheels in the open road. I got the throttle wide open. Feel my pace. Got 100 horses between my legs. No destination, no end in sight. Just me in the open road, riding into the moonlight. On my two wheels, all that I need is white lines and gasoline. Life in the fast lane, it's easy to maintain. Just twist the throttle on back and feel no pain. From the open highways, backwoods of the country, where live free or die is the only way. On my two wheels, all that I need is white lines and gasoline. Never look back, never look back. 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 White lines and gasoline. White lines and gasoline. Two wheels in the open road, life and death in my own hands. I am my own justice, I am my own man. I never look behind through all that I have seen. 'Cause all I need is white lines and gasoline. White lines and gasoline. White lines and gasoline. White lines and gasoline. We believe in the American way, and we built this country called the USA, and we fly our flag 'cause we're proud and free, we're Americans. Red, white, and blue is our way of life. We never back down from a challenge or a fight. Nature provides, God gives the rights, we're Americans. We make up America, this amazing America. We fish the waters and we hunt the lands. We forge the steel with our own two hands. With what we've got, we do the best we can. We're Americans. From the snowy passes to the desert sun, dogs and the horses and the trucks and the guns, mothers and daughters and fathers and sons, we're Americans. We make up America, this amazing America. We're an amazing America. Twilight lies gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home of the brave? Because we are the brave. Yes, we are the brave. We'll fight you in the name of the brave. We are the US of A. For those unaware, that flag is still there. It's our future to save. Stand of the brave, the US of A. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home of the two wheels in the open road. Got the throttle wide open. Feel
Welcome,
my
race fans, to the Dominus TYJ Racing Premier Xfinity Series live on All Pro Broadcasting here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the Premier Xfinity Series 250, the Impact 250. We've got 100 laps of fast, exciting racing tonight. As always, we're on All Pro Broadcasting with Michael D'Amico running the camera work. We're also going to have our free pizza giveaway like we have had for the last 35, 40 races this year so far. The guys are just getting ready to start qualifying. Joining me in the booth here is going to be James Ross in just a few minutes, a very, very talented driver. I think he's got 4, maybe 5 wins already in the Dented Fenders Truck Series. He's obviously going to help me in the booth tonight. Real quick, as these guys are getting these qualifying laps in, we are going to go over the point standings Again, you are watching the Impact 250 Business Process Optimization for Growing Companies. You want to go to impact.com and get all the details of how they can help you in your small business. As far as our point standings go, we are getting closer and closer to our Chase playoff. We got quite a few races left to go here before we get there. So for the standings right now, as we speak, going into Indianapolis, this is a crown jewel race. I want to make sure I mention that. These drivers do have a chance to win a little bit of money. First place, second place, and third place will be earning a payout. In first position in the standings right now, we have Gary Sexton. He's got 458 points. In second, we have Jack Watts. He's a few points behind him. Nick Reynolds, who has 2 wins, is in third position in our Premier Xfinity standings. Then we have Donald Stewart in fourth. Josh Bonwell is in fifth in our standings with 1 win. Curtis Young has got a win as well. He's in sixth position in our point standings. A good friend, Judd Danielson, is in seventh. We have Jeremy Crandall, Mr. Consistency, is in eighth. We have Ray Richer in ninth, and Jeff T. Martin is in 10th. I do not think he's going to be racing tonight. He had a death in the family. We're going to be having a moment of silence on lap 10 for his grandmother. But again, you are watching the Impact 250. We're very excited that you're here, fans. And while these guys are getting these qualifying laps in, and this is a very, very interesting, large, as you know, 2.5 mile oval. It's got 4 corners. These Xfinity cars are going to be wound up, but they're also going to have to get out of the gas and onto the brake, depending on the driver, to get the best run down these extremely long front and back stretch sections of the racetrack. But the way you can win the free pizza tonight, fans, is real simple. This is the Domino's TYJ Racing League. The first fan who can accurately predict the winner of this race before halfway, which is lap 50 tonight. 2 ways you can let us know who you're picking. You might want to wait till you get closer to lap 50. It's up to you. The first way you can make your pick is to text 919-883-7497. And before lap 50, say, I choose this driver to win the race. You only get 1 pick. I encourage you not to pick somebody on lap 1 and then pick somebody else on lap 3 and then pick somebody else on lap 45, because none of those picks will count. You get 1 pick, so wait and make your 1 pick when you're ready to make it. The other way you can let us know who you're picking, that's also real simple, is if you're watching in the live chat, you can also comment there, I picked this driver to win the race. Again, do not pick in the live chat on lap 1 or 10, and then again on lap 25 or 45. You want to wait until near the end, or it's up to you. You can pick whenever you want to. Just don't make multiple picks, because we can only honor 1 pick, and it's not fair to all the other fans who are picking 1 driver for you to pick 2 or 3 and me to have to try to figure it out. So good luck, fans. That's going to be very exciting tonight. We have given away close to 30 of these pizzas over the last, I want to say, 30, 40 weeks. Not every single week does it happen, but pretty much every week, at least either on our Wednesday night truck races or our Thursday night or our Sunday night Renegade Dirt Series races, we do give away that free pizza. And as we've got just a few more seconds here, we're going to do one quick thing and try to talk to the person who is actually at the top of the board right now in the qualifying. That looks like our good friend Nick Reynolds has got a really, really good lap on the board as we speak. At a 51.993, is the only driver so far in the sub 52 second range, which around this track in the Xfinity car is really, really hauling the mail, if you can imagine. And I think he is still busy talking to his crew chief, so we're going to try to get another driver up here real quick and talk to him just real quick here. Ellery Queen, Jay Queen, this is Robert in the broadcast booth. Thank you so much for having Impact come on board to sponsor this, the Impact 250. Give us a couple of comments about Impact. We know they are a business process optimization for growing companies. Tell us more about Impact. Yeah, go ahead, Jay. Go ahead, Jay.
So Impact is a office solutions provider. We do everything from managed IT to printers, multifunctional printers, print production equipment. We all sell, lease, and service them.
Wow, that's exciting. Again, thank you so much for coming on board. I know you live very close to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. About how far do you live there, Jay?
About 10 minutes away from the Speedway.
Wow, that's a kid's dream growing up and an adult's dream as well. I'm sure you've been to many races there. Good luck tonight. Looks like you qualified here in the 8th position. I know you've got a lot of experience here on iRacing, so we wish you all the luck, Jay. We want to talk to you in Victory Circle when the race is over.
Thanks for having us, and I hope to talk to you at Victory Circle also.
All right, thanks a lot. Good luck. As these cars start to roll off of the grid here, these guys are going to get 1, if not 2, warm-up laps around this 2.5-mile oval. And it looks like starting the field, the pole sitter is going to be Nick Reynolds in that number 10. Starting second will be Giovanni Bramante, the young talent. And number 89 starting third will be Shane Parrish. David Wright will be starting fourth. Gary Sexton, very good at this track, will be starting fifth. We got starting sixth Josh Bonwell, who does have a win. Mark Jackson, a very talented driver, has got a truck win this season so far, starting in seventh. Jay Queen, like we said, starting eighth. Jill Campbell ninth. We've got Tyler Chalk starting 10th. Judd Danielson 11th. Jack Watts 12th. James Somke 13th. 14th Sean Kalis. 15th Ray Richer. Joe Johnson 16th, Jeffrey Ford 17th, Mark Favorite 18th, Chad Payne 19th, and some drivers that did not take a time that are starting in the back: Kyle Kammer, Curtis Young, Donald Stewart, Mark McFadden, Ivan Garcia, Russ Coe, and Jeremy Crandall will round out the field. This is going to be a very exciting race, fans. Make sure you get your seatbelts on, your bag of popcorn, your Diet Mountain Dew, sweet tea, milk for the kids. These drivers are coming around the turn 4 where the pace car will pull in. And we're going to be off to the races, and it's going to be very exciting to see who can lead this first lap. No problem at all. James Ross, how are you doing tonight? I understand you're in the booth with us tonight. You know a lot about Indy. I'll take this green flag. Go ahead.
I'm having a little difficulty getting in here, Robert, but still trying to get in the room here, but so I'm a little bit behind you guys. But yeah, Indy's a great track, and I believe they're coming to green right now.
Yes, sir. It looks like Nick Reynolds does take the lead going into turn 1 and 2. He's got Gio Bramante behind him, but he's got 2, 3, maybe 4 car length advantage as they scream down the backstretch. We got side by side Shane Parrish in that number 81 and David Wright in that number 42. They're side by side behind them. We've got Josh Bonnell in the 51. These guys are having to tiptoe around here on the first few laps to get a good feel of how this track is going to be in traffic. They did have a long practice session earlier. And as I say that up front, it looks like Gio Bramante is heated up the back bumper of the number 10 of Nick Reynolds. He's looking to the inside as they come to the start-finish line to complete lap 1, but Nick Reynolds will lead this lap, and Gio will fall back behind him for a second position. He understands it's way too early in this race to make a move that quick. Back here we got side by side. It does look like Shane Parrish has occupied that third position. We got Gary Sexton, the number 17, has moved up to fourth on the inside of David Wright. Josh Bonwell, that number 56, has got a mirror full of Mark Jackson, that intimidator, number 3, Chevy Camaro. Mark's looking on the inside as they go down the back stretch. They are single file, one behind each other there in the back, starting back position 5th through 12th. And up front, it does look like Gio Bramante is making a move on the inside of our leader, Nick Reynolds. Nick gives them plenty of room on the low line as they come off of turn 4. It's going to be a drag race down the backstretch. Looks like Nick Reynolds and him are neck to neck. At this point, it looks like Nick is going to continue to lead that second lap, but neither driver are giving in as they dive off into turn 1. Hopefully they keep it straight and they don't dent any fenders. That's for the Truck Series. And now it looks like back for third position, Shane Parrish has got a mirror full of Gary Sexton. These are great drivers raced together all season long. Gary has got the preferred position on the inside, but Shane is going to fight back on the outside as they scream down the backstretch. We've got almost a blanket full of cars. We got the 42 of David Wright there in 5th position. Josh Bonnell on the outside, the 3 of Mark Jackson. And don't look now, but we've got Gerald Campbell in that number 35 McDonald's machine. He's trying to get around him, as these drivers are definitely doing an incredible job on this track, this 2.5 mile oval, making sure they get around here without any contact at all. And back up front, we're going to look and see exactly what's going on. It definitely looks like the 89 of Gia Bramante has been able to complete the pass on the number 10 of Nick Reynolds. Looks like he made that pass pretty clean, so that's going to put Gia Bramante, the number 89, in the first position. We've got Nick Reynolds. He's in that Southeast Motorsports number 10 Rockstar Chevy Camaro in second. Third position, we have Gary Sexton. Fourth, Shane Parrish. He is in that Hero Ready Surf Pro Toyota Camry, number 81. Good looking paint job. We got David Wright at number 42. He's back in 5th position. Back in 6th. Looks like we've got Mark Jackson, and right now Gerald Campbell is trying to get on the inside as they go into the corner. Gerald gets on the rumble strips just a tad, but he is able to complete that pass for the 6th position. It looks like Josh Bonnell is going to also try to complete that pass. He is in that yellow freight truck Ford Mustang GT. And we've got Ellery Queen is in 9th position. He is in that, as he is the race sponsor for tonight. He is in that Impact, Create, Manage, Documents, Distribute Mustang GT, number 62. Good looking paint job on Jay Queen's car right now as he's running in 9th position. Back up front, it looks like it is all Gia Bramante as he has stretched his lead out to about a 8, 9, 10 maybe car length advantage over Nick Reynolds. So you're not missing anything up front, fans. We did talk about David Wright. He is in that Triad Computer Works 42 Chevy Camaro, running in 5th, a strong run so far. Going back to the field a little bit, we've got Jack Watson, that number 66 Southeast Motorsports, at number 10. Beautiful black paint job. We have Judd Danielson in 11th in that Domino's Pizza Chevrolet Camaro. 13th, we have Tyler Chalk. He's in that RJ Race Cars Incorporated Chevrolet Camaro. He has moved up to 13th. Actually, he's fallen back to 13th, excuse me there, fans. And they're battling side by side behind him. We've got Joe Johnson in the IRAPS Camry, 83, as Curtis Young makes a move on the inside of him and gets that position for 12th. Kyle Cameron's in that Interstate Batteries Ford Mustang, number 51. He is running safely in 16th. Jeffrey Ford. He's in that Ford Entertainment Group Ford Mustang GT, the 246. He is running in 17th position, right where he started. We've also got Ray Richer in that number 44 Camaro. He just touches the wall. Looks like he's been into the wall a couple of times tonight. He's got just a little bit of damage in the right front fender. He's in 17th. Hopefully that will not harm him much at all. Sean Kalis in that Wells Fargo Ford Mustang number 45 is in 18th. Mark McFadden in 19th, and the 67 having a great run, that Ford Mustang. And Donald Stewart, in loving memory of Everett Stewart. We do remember him. He's in that 78 Camaro, rounding out the top 20. Back up front, fans. It does look like Gia Bramante is pulling out and stretching the lead. And these drivers are doing an excellent job of getting around this track without much contact with each other and without much contact with the wall. As everybody knows, these cars are gaining up to 184, 189, 190, 192, 196 going down the front stretch as they dive into turn 1. So they've got to have their fenders, especially in the front and especially the rear spoiler, in perfect condition to get maximum aerodynamic flow around these Xfinity cars. These cars do have quite a bit less horsepower than the Monster Energy Cup cars. And so these guys are in the throttle a whole lot more, and drafting definitely comes into play here. Like I said, Gia Bramante in that number 89 is in the pole position, or the number 1 position. He's got, God, looks like a 20 car advantage now. Question's going to be, is Gia wearing his tires out? Is he wearing his equipment out, running this fast? because we all know we're going to have quite a few pit stops here, even if we stay green. So it's going to be really interesting to see which drivers are maintaining their equipment the best and which drivers will be able to make passes late in this run. These drivers are going to be able to make probably, I'm guessing, 30 laps. 25 to 30 laps is what I'm hearing. So they could go between 25 and 30 laps here on a tank of fuel. So they're definitely going to have to be able to maintain their tires, not to mention their fenders. And some guys may short pit. A lot of times if you're on the lead lap, it's such a huge track here. If you're in the top 5, you can probably short pit and not lose a lap. Another thing we're going to do real quick, fans, is do a moment of silence here on lap 10 coming up. We've got a good friend of ours, Jeff Martin, is not in the race tonight. He lost his grandmother earlier this week. I think her funeral was today. And we also want to remember Lincoln Park, Chester. Unfortunately, he passed away today also, so we're going to take the next couple of laps as a moment of silence to remember these two great people. All right, fans, as we complete lap 11, starting lap 12, thank you for that patience and that moment of silence. You are watching the Impact 250 live on All Pro Broadcasting. Fans, we do want to encourage you to make sure you click that subscribe button. That way you get all of the alerts for every race, all the races we have Wednesday night and Thursday nights, and this coming Sunday night, we're going to be having a double header. You do not want to miss that. And I'm welcoming you in the booth now. James Ross was able to get everything worked out. How you doing tonight, James?
I'm doing well, Robert. How are you?
I'm doing great, and happy you're here. Yellow flag came out.
Yeah, we got a caution here. Let's see if we can't figure out what happened here.
Looks like it was back in the pack here. The 420 of Rusco had a little issue. Also looks like Mark Fravert in the 18 was involved. We're getting the replay pulled up right now. Fans, give us just a second. Looks like he just got a little bit too high and got into the outside retaining wall. Coming through, looks like turn 2, coming out of turn 2. Shot him back down across the track. And Rusco spun trying to avoid it. I don't think either one of these drivers had a whole lot of contact. What did you see there, James?
Yeah, I saw that the 18 get a little squirrely there. Actually touched the outside wall, but doesn't look too bad. The 420 just spun trying to avoid them. So I think these guys will both be able to get those banged out. And, you know, Mark will get it banged out. Russ will probably get a couple of fresh tires and be good to go.
Yeah, and I tell you what, here's some strategy coming up, James, and you're really good in the real world of racing on strategy, as well as here in iRacing. These drivers have completed 12 laps green. It was a really good long green flag stretch here at Indy. I understand these cars can go about 25 to 29 laps on this 75% tank load. What kind of strategy do you think we're going to see? Do you think the leaders are going to be pitting here or staying out?
Oh, I'm looking here. We're looking at, just talking to a couple of guys over the radio here, we're looking at about 20 laps on fuel. So I mean, I'm pretty sure you're going to see everybody come in here. Tires are worth more than fuel at this place anyway. But yeah, expect to see these guys from here on out, 100 laps. It'll be 84 to go by the time they take the green. We're going to need 4 more stops unless somebody can really stretch it from here. Be real interesting to see if somebody can gain a lap on each fuel load. They could possibly steal this one by a lap.
Yes, sir. I was a little bit off on that. I did quite a bit of laps on Saturday afternoon, and I was just kind of guessing there on the fuel range. But yeah, if they can only go 19, 20 laps, as you are absolutely saying, all these drivers are on pit road. It looks like right now, the first car off looks like it could be the number 73 of Jeremy Crandall. I'm not sure if he did some kind of tire strategy there. He was on the lead lap, so this is going to be really interesting to see if he pulled some kind of strategy on tires to come off of pit road first. Looks like
where he came in the 20th position. It looks like he just drove straight through pit lane, Robert. He didn't even stop.
Yeah, he might have missed his box. That's very confusing sometimes, especially the first time you come down pit road in a real race scenario, making sure you get your exact pit box. It looks like Shane Parrish came out first of all the other drivers. Gerald Campbell, Nick Reynolds, actually Nick Reynolds maybe second, Gerald Campbell third, Gio Bramante fourth. It looks like the way they're lining up here. We'll get the starting order here, the restarting order, in just a few minutes.
I'm really interested to see if Jeremy actually missed his box, or he's one of the guys that likes to kind of run a fuel run out, and maybe he took a look at the fuel and said, well, I'm going to need to stop 4 more times anyway, so why waste a stop now and fall a lap or 2 short on fuel? So Jeremy's pretty crafty, so I see he's going past pit entrance this time as well, so maybe he took a look at it and decided to pull a little strategy of his own.
I tell you what, he is a very, very smart driver. He does a lot of work in real racing down there in Florida where he's from. And it wouldn't surprise me at all, like you just said, if he's pulling out some kind of strategy, maybe run a couple of laps, then come in and be out of sync with everybody else. And that might give him the lead a little bit later down the road if we do have a long green flag run, which is definitely possible.
Oh, absolutely. This is going to be a fun one here. Indy's an interesting track. It's different than anywhere else we run all year long. Kind of the squared off corners, the little short chutes between 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Car tends to get real hairy off of 2 and 4 when you're trying to go fast here. And you will get a couple of guys going through the corners, come down. You almost clip that white line and even a little below it, and you'll get a couple of touch the grass here. So, it makes it for a real interesting exit. I can tell you that from personal experience.
Yes, sir. Am I guessing you've been on this track in real life, or are you just talking about your sim racing on this track?
Just sim racing. I've been to the 500 a couple of times and as a spectator, but yeah, never turned a lap here in anger in real life.
Yeah, I'm sure it costs a pretty penny no matter what kind of division you could get into to be on this track. But we're definitely excited to be here tonight in the Domino's TYJ Racing Premier Xfinity Series. Again, fans, you are watching the Impact 250 live on All Pro Broadcasting. These guys are going to get ready for a restart in just a minute. We want to remind you one more time how you can win that free pizza. Before lap 50, fans, all you have to do is be the first person to make your pick accurately before anybody else does of the winner of this race. And as I'm saying that, it does look like the 73 might be coming down pit road this time. So he might have reconsidered that. Anyway, fans, back to the free pizza. That's what everybody wants. You can text 919-883-7497. Or if you're watching in the live chat, you can also comment there. You say, I choose this driver to win the race. Again, I would recommend not picking more than one driver. If you pick 3 or 4 different drivers as people change positions on the tracks, I'm not going to be able to honor your picks because you get one pick. So if you wait a little while, you've still got about 35, 34 laps to get your next pick in.
Well, and that's a trick. If you wait too long, someone might pick them. Or if you pick them too soon, they might have some kind of calamity. So, not only do we have pit strategy and tire strategy and fuel strategy, but you could say we have pizza strategy here at CYJ Racing.
Hey, I love it. That's awesome. That's exactly right. Again, like I said, the Impact 250 business process optimization for growing companies. Go to impact.com to get more information on how Impact can help you with your small company. We know there's a lot of small companies in the United States today in 2017. Economy is looking great, so if you need some help, go to impact.com to get more information. I tell you what, James, we're getting ready for this restart. We got Shane Parrish on the out as the restart leader, control car. Nick Reynolds second, Gerald Campbell third, Jim Bramante fourth, David Wright fifth, Mark Jackson sixth, Jack Watts seventh, Ellery Queen or Jay Queen eighth, Gary Sexton ninth, and Judd Danielson running out the top 10. This is going to be interesting. What are you expecting? I'll let you take this restart.
Sure. Well, it's really interesting that Shane took the outside. I mean, these corners on the outside here, there's not a lot of grip in one, so he must be betting on getting a good jump here, clearing second by the time he gets to turn one, and the pace car is off. We're expecting green here, and now a huge jump for Shane Parrish. He jumps out in front. He's got a good lead on Nick Reynolds. 2-3 cars before they even get into one. And they're all getting singled out here.
Yes, sir. That is the advantage of coming off pit road in that number one position. You get lane choice, and you get to go at your prerogative as soon as the pace car comes in. We do have side-by-side battling back here. Looks like the 85 of Judd Danielson is right beside, it looks like, on the inside of him could be Curtis Young. They are battling for that 10th and 11th position. These guys have known each other for a couple of years. They're both veteran racers here in the Dominance TYJ Racing League, and it looks like Judd allows Curtis to make that pass clean on the inside. He understands there's a long way to go here in this race, and most of these drivers are single file. And James, how do you make a clean pass here? Do you make it normally off of turn 2? You make it off of turn 4? Is it backing out, getting into the corner earlier, and getting a good run off? What's your description of how to make a good clean pass on somebody that you're close to?
Yeah, well, you're not passing anybody off of the corners here. So you're laying back. You're trying to get a little bit of a run. Not laying back too much because you don't want to lose any bit of that draft help. But all your passing here is going to be on the entry of 1 and 3. And what you're trying to do is get up even with them. I mean, you can get up to the door. And I can give it to you normally, but you're trying to get up even. As I see Mark Jackson making a pass for 4th here, just what we're talking about. Got up,
yes, sir.
Got underneath him, going into 3.
Yes, sir. That's exactly what he did. Go ahead.
No, it's just if you're not there quite in time, you got to back off and live to pass another corner. But that's the way you get it done here. All the passing will be done at the end of these big long straightaways.
I got you. I see. You get a good run on somebody with the draft help, perhaps. You get to the inside of them going into the corner. Hopefully the driver, like in that case, I think it was the car Mark Jackson just passed Gerald Campbell. Actually, Gerald Campbell's looking to pass him back. As they scream down the back stretch, they are side by side. Gerald is going to have a little bit of an advantage. He's going to complete the pass before they get to the turn number 3, looks like.
And Gerald just proved me wrong. Gerald actually made that pass, or in that pass coming off of turn 2 there. So, made me look like a fool right there. As I see, Mark's also got his hands full. He's got, who is that?
That's David Wright? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I see exactly what you're saying, though, but it looks like most of them are being completed, or at least the beginning, the pass is getting set up, going into the corner. And these drivers are having to just finesse these cars around these corners, because actually this is really only about a 2-groove track through the corners, if that. Is that correct?
This is a 3/4 of a groove racetrack in the corners. I mean, you get up on the high side, there's just nothing there. There's no grip, no forward drive. So if you get somebody in with a nose under you, you're kind of a sitting duck out there.
Yes, sir, and that's exactly what the 89 and Gio Bramante just did. He got a nose to the inside of the number 10 and Nick Reynolds, just like you said. Nick gave him room. He knew that he caught him. He let him get by. He's going to live to fight another lap, and he'll probably, with better tires later in the race, be able to make the same move on the 89 and Gio Bramante that just happened.
Oh, absolutely. That if you try and race on the outside there, once you get stuck on the outside, you'll putter in the wall real quick if you're not careful. So the smart move is, the car's there, give up the position. And better to give up 1 than to give up 40.
Exactly. Or give up 40 by wrecking your car. Exactly, which is, it looks like we've got almost every driver started the race still in the race. We had one driver with some technical issues. There's a few laps down, another driver who hit the wall. Obviously realized the 5-minute clock, which we don't technically have here, he was not going to be able to get his car back out there and be competitive. That'd be the 18 of Mark Fravor. He'll probably finish in the last position tonight. Another driver, Tyler Chalk, had some issues. But we've got many cars on the lead lap right now. We've got 23 lead lap cars as we are still early in this race, lap 21. And knowing that these cars can only go 19 to 20 laps on the fuel run, these guys are going to have to make another pit stop before halfway if we stay green.
Yeah, I'm just looking over here. I mean, we went back green on, I should have taken my notes, but I believe we went back green on lap 17. So these guys should be pitting somewhere in the neighborhood of, I'd say, lap 35 to 37 is what we're looking at coming up here.
Exactly. Well, some of these other cars I'm going to take a quick look at that were not really up in the front of the field earlier in the race. See how they're running. If we go all the way back to the 19th position, that Jeremy Crandall, he took that pit kind of out of sequence, so to speak, but he started 26, so he has picked up 7 positions today. In that 20th position, we got James Somke in that number 1 Chevrolet Camaro. Looks like James started in 13th, so he's falling back. He's having a little bit of struggle with his car, the handling. Hopefully in the next pit stop or two, they can get a couple of wrenches in there and get some things freed up on it or tightened up, whichever the case may be. Rusco in that 21st position. He was involved in that incident that brought up the first caution. He spun, did not hit anything. I think he might have had a commitment cone violation, but he is still on the lead lap there in 21st behind him. We've got our good friend Chad Payne, who's driving that Coors number 9 Mustang GT, and he's got a mirror full right now of the 35 of Gerald Campbell. The 72 of McDonald's car of Ivan Garcia, who's the last car on the lead lap in 23rd. What are you seeing up front?
Oh, up front here, it's kind of more of the same. I'm watching Shane Parrish in the 81, and I'm watching Giovanni Bramante. He's my teammate. I should know his name. Kind of tracking him down, but the gap's been staying pretty consistent over the last 3 or 4 laps here. But they're kind of checking out on 3rd and 4th now, and they're logging their laps and doing what they need to do. I know these guys supposed to spend a lot of time in practice, and you can see it's paying off here on the track.
Exactly. Yeah, we had a lot of practice this week. A lot of guys spent a lot of time getting laps in, and it's obviously showing the guys who are in most practices or running the most laps here have definitely got their car in a position. They've got it tuned up. They've got the adjustment made before the race, and especially on that first pit stop to be up front. Another driver I want to talk about real quick here we like to do quite a few times. It is our Domino's driver profile in number 6 position. Mark Jackson is trying to make a move right now on the inside of the number 42 of David Wright. On the inside, he's driving that number 3 Intimidator Chevy Camaro. He decides to wait for another lap to make that move. Mark Jackson, real quick, is from Wichita, Kansas. His team is Over the Top Paints. Also, or sponsors Over the Top Paints, pad people against distracted driving. He's been in racing in simulator racing for 17 years. He's got some local street class bracket racing, and in iRacing he's got 40 wins in 772 starts, 200 top 5s, and he would like to give special thanks to John Hendrick. That's the guy who does all these incredible over-the-top paints. This is one, especially right now on Mark Jackson's car. The hood of that car is amazing. He'd also like to thank his fiance Kristen Phillips, Southeast Motorsports, and as well Michael D'Amico with All Pro Broadcasting.
Yeah, and as we were speaking there, Mark actually gave up another position there to Jack Watts. Discretion, the better part of valor right there. Got a little checked up after his pass attempt, and looks like he'll be trying to make the run here going down the back stretches. Gets right on the tail of the 66 of Jack Watts.
Yes, these guys work together. They both have got pad sponsors on their car at one time or another. They both race for Southeast Motorsports. So it looks like these guys are going to be battling in this race. I'm sure they're going to race clean, and they are side by side in the corner. And this is some really good racing here, back for 6th and 7th position.
Yeah, I tell you, Mark is also one of our best interviews here. I mean, he comes in like a ball of energy when you get him in the interview booth. So, you know, I hate to say I'm pulling for one driver or another, but I certainly like interviewing Mark. He's a lot of fun.
Yes, sir, and right in that same position area, we've got in 8th position Jay or Ellery Queen trying to make a move here. He's in that number 62. Gary 6 in the number 17 is running in 9th position. Oh, he almost makes contact there with Kyle Cameron, that number 50. When they get it straightened out as they scream down this long backstretch, they get single file here, but you could almost throw a blanket over those guys in the last corner. And don't look now, but we got Curtis Young in that number 11th position. A little atypical. He did start back in 21st, Curtis did. I think he did not take a qualifying lap to kind of stay out of trouble. He has been able to move up to 11th position. And right now, he is trying to do everything he can on the track, as well as when we have pit stops coming up, to make the best decisions to move his way up in the field.
Curtis is as Mark Jackson does get past Jack Watts going into one here. Curtis is a very wily, you know, crafty driver. I mean, he's also a championship winner here in the Defender Truck Series. I think Curtis is just minding his time. He's knowing there's going to be a caution here somewhere. And he'll slowly work his way up to the front. I mean, in 28 laps, he's up 10 positions. So I can imagine, you know, he's somebody we might see up here towards the top 5, top 3, possibly even for a win by the time this is all over.
Yes, sir. And the sponsors you see on his car tonight, Dive Bomb Motorsports and his energy drink, what are you seeing?
We'll take a look here in a second.
Yeah, while you're getting that.
I call him the Purple People Eater because I love that.
Yeah, beautiful car. Yeah, real quick, another Domino's driver profile. While we got a second, I don't think we've done this with Curtis in a long time, because he does help out so much in the truck broadcasts here in the booth. But Curtis, if you did not know, ladies and gentlemen, he is from Shelburne, Ontario, Canada. He does drive that beautiful purple number 94. Race team is Dive Bomb Motorsports. His sponsors are My Wallet. That means
I see he's got Go Fast Sports Energy drink up on the hood, and he's got Domino's TYJ on his quarter fence.
Exactly.
Tonight,
yeah, it's the Go Fast Energy drink. He came on board this year as a sponsor on that new paint job. He's been racing in sim for 2 years, but Curtis, like a lot of these guys, including you, James, he's got some real-world racing experience, 5 to 7 years. Real quick, fans, his biggest racing accomplishments, in 2016, he was our inaugural Domino's TYJ Den Defenders Truck Champion. He also has finished second place in the Domino's TYJ Cup Series in 2016. But in real-life racing, he's got a 2016 Thrill Show Productions 4-cylinder Figure 8 Series second place. 2015, same thing. Thrill Show Production 4-cylinder Figure 8 Series second place. And the same thing back in 14 where he finished third place. So he does a lot of Figure 8 racing up there in Canada. I've seen his cars. He's thrown the Domino's TYJ logo on there from his local sign shop, which we definitely appreciate. He wants to give special thanks to good buddy of his, Eric Hawk, his father, Randy Young, Gary Weston, and, of course, Domino's TYJ Racing.
Oh, that's great. Well, Figure 8, I don't know if I can say this on the broadcast or not, but that's where the guys with the real marbles race, if you know what I mean, Robert.
Yes, sir. I tell you what, just watching those races, the few I have watched over the years, makes you cringe just watching them. So I cannot imagine what it would be like being there in real life. It looks like we got an incident on the track as we were just speaking. I'm looking real quick here. Yeah, it looks like the 94 Curtis we were just talking about. I think we stayed green. Are we staying green there, James?
Oh yeah, we're still green here. They all got it straightened back out, and I'm hearing some chatter over the radio of, you know, a little bit of apologizing, a little bit of hey, sorry I got into you, but glad you saved it. Classic case of no harm, no foul. They're all keeping it straight, and we're continuing.
Yes, sir. They might be a little bit hot under the collar, but that could have been a big wreck with a lot of torn-up race cars. So basically, in my opinion, that was some very, very talented driving by Gary Sexton, the number 17. as well as J. Ellery Quinn in that number 16 Impact Ford Mustang GT. I don't think Curtis meant to get into him. Of course, at these speeds and these corners, you come up on somebody super fast, that's exactly what happened. But they were able to keep it straight for the most part. A little bit of trading paint, as we say, but I think they're both going to, all three will be able to come back and have a good finish here tonight.
Oh, absolutely. I'm taking a look. We've actually had some takers at pit lane already. I noticed the 35 of Gerald Campbell has already come to pit lane here. Look at the fuel strategy. These guys are going to need an extra stop than probably what they were planning. And I'm looking, these guys have fallen off almost 2 seconds from their fastest lap times now. So a couple taking advantage of the undercut and trying to take an advantage out on the track.
Yeah, that's exactly what you're going to have to do. I haven't talked about it much here in the last few weeks, and I'm no expert, but just from watching these races from the booth, James, I have learned a couple things here. For a driver to win a race in our highly, highly competitive either Dented Fender Truck Series, which you've won a couple this year, as well as our Premier Xfinity Series tonight, as well as next Thursday we'll have our top shelf cup cars here at Indy for another 100-lap Crown Jewel race, which these top three drivers will earn a little bit of money payout. You've got to have a lot of things go perfect in one of these races. You've got to have a very talented driver. You've got to have a very good car. You've got to obviously have a lot of practice in, but you've also got to have a spotter who does a perfect job during the race. You've got to have perfect pit stops, not speeding on pit road by the driver. You've got to have the right strategy on pit road that your crew chief will call, whether it's 2 tires, 4 tires, a full tank of fuel. And at the end of some of these races is when that really comes into play. And the last thing you got to have, as you know, James, is a little bit of luck to get one of these victories.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we've got a good group with us. I mean, I run with Aegis Motorsports, and we've got a real good group. I mean, I've got a bunch of guys that are always helping me. I got a spotter who's with me every week, and a strategist, and and even with all that, sometimes it don't work out in your favor. It all happens when the cautions come out. But yeah, a bunch of guys are already taking advantage. I see the 66, the 35, the 10, the 246, the 42 is pitting now. All trying to undercut these leaders and gain a little time that way. So be real interesting. I know the 35 and the 10 were all the way up towards the front before they pitted. So let's see where it all shakes out after this pit cycle.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, James. And right now it does look like the biggest mover so far in the race is the number 20. Excuse me, the number 51 of Kyle Kammer started 20th. He's up to that 3rd position. He has not made his second pit stop yet tonight. And actually looks like he might, no, he's still on the track at full speed. And it looks like he's in 5th position. But he's moved from 20th up to 5th. And he's got a beautiful paint job on his car tonight as well.
Yeah, actually, Robert, I'm showing Kyle sitting in 3rd position right now. And Curtis Young has started 21st behind him in the 4th. So they're kind of coming up through this field together. Only question now is, are they taking this too far, where they're going to lose too much time on track, or are they going to try and stretch it and maybe get a little more out of the tank and keep themselves from having one more pit stop? Pit lane here is very, very long. Very long track, but a lot of time lost on pit lane. So, yeah, interesting strategy-wise. I'll be honest, I wouldn't know what call to make here, so I'm interested to see what these guys do and how they figure it out.
Yes, sir. How many seconds were you saying they're losing from fresh tires to 15, 18 lap old tires? About?
Just looking at the leaders here, their fast laps were in the 52.4 range, and they're in the 54.4 range. So they're 2 seconds a lap slower with the fall off on these tires right now.
Wow, that is true. Yep. So it is going to be very interesting, James, to see which drivers don't stretch it too far, but are able to maybe put a few cars a lap down, which means they have less cars to battle into the race if those cars remain a lap down. But you do not want to run out of fuel, like you just mentioned. This is a 2.5-mile oval. The pit road is very, very long. Even if you run out of fuel on the back stretch or turn 3 or 4, and you're not able to get to pit road as quickly as you need to, you could lose 4, 5, 10, 15 seconds, and then you would be done for the race, more than likely.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the worst case here, you run out in 1 and 2. You will not make it back around the pit road. I mean, even though they're hitting speeds of almost 175 to 180 miles an hour into these corners at times, you're not going to carry all the way around this place. It's just gigantic. But I see Shane Parrish, our leader, is still out. Actually, he's gone by my projected pit window now. So.
Yes, sir. And real quick, if All Pro Broadcasting can get on the 17 car, this is going to show you the difference in old tires and new tires. Gary Sexton's got 4 brand new tires. He's catching the leader, the 81 of Shane Parrish, who's got very, very old tires. And it looks like Gary Sexton is going to be able to catch him, make a move on the inside, and probably blow by him going into turn 1 as they cross the start-finish line here, which would definitely be a big indication of how much these 4 fresh tires make over the old tires. So basically, Gary Sexton just unlapped himself, and Shane Parrish is still out there, still the leader. As a matter of fact, we've got a lot of people that are still on the lead lap because it's such a big track, but I tell you what, this strategy is going to be very interesting. And I do want to remind the fans one more time, you are watching the Impact 250 here on All Pro Broadcasting. I mentioned this earlier. Make sure, fans, you check the subscribe button if you're watching the live chat. That way you get all the notifications for all of our races, because guess what? You have got less than 12 laps to get your pick in for the free pizza. How that works real quick, I think I forgot a couple of important details. We give away a large Domino's 3-topping pizza every single race when we have a fan accurately predict the winner before halfway. Tonight, halfway is lap 50. You get 1 pick. You can either pick it by texting 919-883-7497. You can also comment in the live chat, I picked this driver. Again, we monitor both areas, and the first fan to actually pick that gets that large 3-topping Domino's pizza from any Domino's store in the United States of America. This is important. It is carry out only. You do have to get in your automobile, your pickup truck, and get down to the store to get it. But we make arrangements. You contact me. You tell me what you want. We call it in, and we have it paid for. All you do is show up, pick it up, and eat it. And we've been giving away these pizzas for the last 30, 40 races. And by the way, I've got quite a few pics on the website, or excuse me, on my Facebook account of these fans who are generous enough to take a picture of their free pizza. Not everybody wants to do that. They don't want to be out there in the public eye. But we got quite a few pictures on my Facebook, Robert Graham McFarland. And if we get a free winner tonight and they allow us to get a picture from them, we'll be posting that tomorrow or over the weekend once they get their free pizza.
That's excellent. That's excellent. I know we've given away a bunch of free pizzas here. I know I've seen a couple of multiple-time winners, and it's a nice thing we do here in this league. I hope the fans enjoy it. I know we kind of enjoy it when we get picked and we wind up winning somebody a pizza. It feels real good as a driver. So, it's one of the great programs we have here at Domino's TYJ Racing.
Yes, sir, James. And a lot of times the fans, half the time the fans will not know the driver. They'll just be picking the driver because they've seen other races. Other times it will be maybe a family member of a driver. Like in the race tonight earlier, we had Josh Bonwell. I think he had some technical issues, but his mother, Thala, watches every single race, and she actually was able, I think, to win that pizza when he had that victory earlier in the season here in the Xfinity Series. So some fans pick the same driver every week. Some fans mix it up. Some fans know the drivers, whether they're family members, and some just pick the driver out of a hat because they've seen that driver do very well in the past. So it's very exciting. What are you seeing up front?
Well, I'm seeing our 2 leaders, Shane Parrish and Giovanni Bramante. The last 2 cars to pit on this cycle are now hitting pit road here at the close of lap 40. So this is where we'll see where those extra laps can hurt them or help them. But I believe you're going to see they're going to be well behind the leaders when they come back out.
Yes, sir. I'm on the pit road following Shane Parrish in that Serpro Toyota as he slides into his pit box here near the front of the pit road. He has a good stop as Giovanni stops in front of him. Looks like the right sides are going up. He's getting 2 Goodyear Eagles on the right side and 1 can of Sunoco Racing Fuel on the left side. The left side's going up. Both of these lead drivers are getting 4 Goodyear Eagles and 2 cans of Sunoco Fuel. It's going to be a drag race off of pit road. It looks like Giovanni might have the advantage if they come off of pit road. But these guys are going to have brand new fresh tires, and they're going to be smoking through the field here as they try to get back. If they might have lost the lap here, it'll be interesting to see if they've got a complete pit stop without losing a lap.
Yeah, they won't lose a lap here, but I believe what you're going to see is when this all shakes out, Jeremy Crandall will be out in the lead, but he's stretching his fuel right now. I think you're going to find when it all shakes out, the number 10 of Nick Reynolds and the number 5 of 35 of Gerald Campbell will be your first and second place cars. They pitted quite a few laps earlier than our leaders did, and we'll see that cycle through right here at the start-finish line.
Exactly. Yes, we'll get the updated running order. And these drivers, like I said, who just came off the pit road. Shane Parrish is making the move, it looks like, on the inside of Curtis Young now. Of course, he's got a little bit fresher tires. Although I think Curtis came in just a couple laps before Shane. So these two cars are pretty equally matched as far as tires go. They make almost a little bit of contact. Curtis does not want to give that position up. He knows that if he lets Shane by him, it's going to be hard to get back by him. Shane is able to complete that pass, like you just said. Going through the corner, he was able to get the fender underneath the 94 of Curtis Young. So Shane will make that pass completed.
Well, here's the important thing to know is Shane was our leader when he came into the pits, and he led most of the laps in that green flag run, if not all of them. And you can see now, I mean, he's actually sitting a good 10 seconds behind Nick Reynolds in second, who's going to cycle out to be your leader. So those extra laps on track, giving up a second or two a lap, really did hurt. We'll have to see how it plays out fuel-wise, but you can definitely see the results on the track right now.
I tell you what, and our leader that led those last couple of laps, Jeremy Crammell at number 73 Camaro, you said he was trying to stretch the fuel. He is on pit road. He had to get 4 fresh Goodyear tires, 2 cans of Sunoco Racing fuel, a little bit of an adjustment in the right rear. So he's going to be back on track. And I think, like you said earlier, Jeremy Crammell is going to be doing a fuel strategy here. This does look like a green flag race. We only had one caution, fans. And so it's going to be very interesting to see if Jeremy Crandall's strategy can finally get him in the victory circle. He is a very talented driver, but he is also a very smart driver. And would not surprise me at all to see this strategy play out for a good finish, if not a win tonight for Jeremy Crandall.
Oh, and as we're saying that, I see we have a car had an incident over here. It looks like, let's see, it looks like the 9 of Chad Payne did get up into the wall. He's got the car down on pit road now. Not sure exactly what happened there, but we are staying green.
Yes, that's another advantage of being on this huge 2.5-mile oval. Especially if after you've run 45 laps, hint, fans, you've got less than 5 laps to get your pick in if you haven't yet. Looks like Shane Parrish is making the pass around the 66 of Jack Watts. As these drivers get stretched out, they're able to race their line, catch the other drivers, or be caught by a faster driver and make these passes cleanly. And that's another reason we're having such a long green flag run, which fans you do see a lot of the times here at Domino's TYJ Racing, especially on these big tracks. Of course, Talladega, Daytona, which are coming up here in a few weeks. Could be a whole different story. The big one does happen from time to time. But this is some really good racing here so far tonight.
Oh, yeah. We get a lot of green flag racing here. I mean, we have a great crop of drivers here. A lot of very, very talented guys here. So, yeah, we do tend to get a lot of green flag laps here. This place also helps out with that. I mean, the cars do tend to get a little bit spaced out over the run, so that does help. Usually if you get an incident, it's usually a 1 or 2 car incident. It's not a pile up like Daytona or Talladega. But no, these guys are all very, very good at what they do. They keep it on the black stuff and keep it going straight, and we get a lot of great green flag racing.
Yeah, like you were talking about earlier with that pit strategy where the 81 of Shane Parrish and that Serve Pro Toyota Camry stayed out a long time there. It does look like the 3 of Mark Jackson, he was actually able to get ahead by pitting earlier. At this point in the race, Mark Jackson is in that 4th position. Shane Parrish is trying to track him down and make a move around him. But at this point, it does look like staying out might not have helped the 81 of Shane Parrish and the 89 of Giamatti Bramante as well. We'll have to see how that plays out later in the race.
Yeah, well, I'm looking now. Now you've got the flip side of it, and that Giovanni and Shane both hit a little later, so they lost time on track. But now they're on the fresher tires, as I see a pass just happened there, a lap car. But you can see these guys are actually gaining time now with fresher tires. It looks like Giovanni Bramante has an issue going into turn 1. He was very slow going into there.
Yeah, I think he was a little bit slower a half lap before when I was noticing the drivers catching him. I didn't know if he was saving fuel or if he's actually having a problem.
Yeah, it's interesting. I would like to see if I could find him on the radio and see what might be going on, talk to his crew chief. But it does look like he's considerably off the pace. As I see Mark Jackson breezes by him going into turn 3.
Yeah, he could be saving fuel. It's not like Gio, though. He's one of the fast drivers who's always running as fast as he can every single lap. So it'd be interesting to see once we hear from him and or his crew chief. If you want to take a minute and try to contact his crew chief to find out what's going on, I will cover this in the meantime. If you can have success with that. If not, no big deal. We'll definitely get him up here in the booth if we do have a caution. But he's definitely off the pace, and that is uncharacteristic for the 89. Looks like up front we do have Nick Reynolds to cycle back to the lead position. Nick had the pole. He lost the lead there in the middle part of this first run, and he is back to the lead position. And no surprise here, we do have Gerald Campbell running second. Gerald Campbell is in that number, that number 35 McDonald's Reese's Ford Mustang GT. He is running in second position. Third position, we have Mark Jackson in that number 3 Intimidator. Over the top paint, Southeast Motorsports Chevrolet Camaro. Fourth position, we do have Gio Bramante. We're finding out right now if he has an issue. It looks like he's back up to speed as we speak, though. Fifth position, we have Shane Pearson. That's Sir Pro. What'd you find out?
Just a little follow-up on that. I just spoke with Dave Washington, who's sitting on top of the pit box for Gio, and yeah, they are definitely saving some fuel right now. Trying to stretch this out and do it in one more stop here. So interesting strategy going on here. Real interesting. It looks like the 81 might also be doing the same kind of thing right here. So
yeah, I just noticed the 81 let the 94 of Curtis Ringbaum. He's letting the 42. That would be of David Wright. He's letting him by. So these drivers that stayed out long, like we just said, the 89 of Gio Bramante, the 81 of Shane Pierce, they might be trying to save enough fuel to make it on one more stop, which would be an incredible strategy. They're going to have a whole lot of cars one lap down if they're able to pull that off, and that would be an unbelievable strategy surprise for everybody.
No, it's a tough strategy to play. You know, you make the play on fuel mileage and give up a bunch of positions on the track, and you know you get a spin and a caution, and then all that's out the window, and you've lost a ton of track positions. So it's a gutsy call to make. Well, let's see how it plays out for him.
Yes, sir, James and fans. Just a reminder, we're on lap 50, which takes about 52 seconds to get around this track. So you've got less than 35 seconds to get your pick in. Of course, you can text 919-883-7497, or in the live chat, you can say, I picked this driver to win. We will definitely update all you fans and the drivers on who won the free pizza tonight at the conclusion of this race. We usually do it after the interview of the top 3 finishers. So stay tuned to find out if you are the lucky fan to win the free pizza tonight.
Yeah, interesting call tonight. I wouldn't know how to call this one. The strategies are all over the place. The on-track action is all over the place. Difficult call, but you know, the end of this lap will be your deadline. So get them in right now.
Yes, sir. Nick Reynolds, like I said, he did take over that lead position, and I don't think he's saving any fuel at all. Nick Reynolds in that number 10. And real quick, I think I failed to mention before, Nick Reynolds is driving that Southeast Motorsports, dominating the track Chevrolet Camaro, green and black. It's looking awesome tonight. That's another incredible paint job by the over-the-top paint and designs guys. I think he's on the strategy where he's definitely going to have to pit 1 or 2 more times. But he's trying to lead as many laps as he can, be out front, stay out of trouble, keep that car clean. And if we do have that caution anytime in the next 49 laps or sometime in the next 25 laps, he might be in the catbird seat to be leading the race. And, you know, because that strategy we just talked about could definitely come back to bite the guys who are trying to make it on one more stop.
Yeah, I'm looking here too. He's had a considerable fall off in his lap times. Could be part tires, but looks like it's a little more than that. He might be paying attention to what some of these guys are doing around him and recalculating his strategy as we speak.
I tell you what, that's the advantage of having a smart crew chief. I'm sure the spotter can help out also by just look at the lap times on all the fancy technology everybody has in 2017. But the spotters can also let them know if they're trying to save fuel, how quick a guy's catching them, so they don't have any contact. And one driver that looks like he is not saving any fuel at this point is the 51 of Kyle Cameron. He's looking like he's going to make a move to the inside of the 94 of Curtis Young. So it's kind of interesting. Some of these guys picked up on saving fuel about 10 laps ago, and some of these other drivers have already decided they're going to go ahead and push it. So I tell you what, this is going to be one, like you just said, I obviously wouldn't have any idea of how to call the strategy here to win the race. And that's one reason we're watching, one reason we're up here in the booth. And hopefully we have another winner. We've had a whole lot of different winners here in 2017 across all three, actually technically all four series if you consider our Renegade Dirt Series on Sunday nights. And while I'm talking about that, James, I'll make a quick shout out for the fans. If you do not win the free pizza tonight, do not fret. Domino's makes a lot of pizzas, and we do have a caution at this time, which is going to change everything. James, I'll get back to talking about this coming Sunday night. What did you see happen there, James?
I'm searching around the track here now to see if I can find it. It looks like the 62 car was involved. Let's see if I can figure out.
62 maybe, and the 81 of Shane Parrish. Yeah, we're getting the replay pulled up in just a minute, fans. This is a large track, hard to find exactly what happened. Obviously very disappointing.
I'm watching here, and looks like 81 was looking underneath the 62 going into 3, and I don't know if that's net code or not, Robert, but it looks like the 62 just breaks loose at the rear.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now to see exactly what happened. I'm sure we're getting that replay pulled up on All Pro Broadcasting. Looks like the 81 of Shane Parrish was catching him.
Yeah, and I see his nose get in there, but I don't see any contact, and the car comes around.
Yeah, that's exactly what can happen sometimes. Just like you said, he's close to him, but it doesn't look like it was really, if there's any contact at all, it's just just a slight contact.
Yeah, I'm getting word from the producer on his video. He's showing some sparks and some contacts. So, maybe indeed there was. It's not the way it showed on my screen, but that's the wonders of racing online and dealing with everybody's internet connections and everything else. I'm looking now. It looks like all our leaders are coming in here to pit on lap 56.
Yes, sir, James. I tell you what, we're going to take a real quick commercial break. We haven't done that yet. We're going to come right back and give you all of the details of the pit stops here. You're watching the Impact 250 live on All Pro Broadcasting. Fans, we'll be back in just a minute.
Smithley, driver the number 0, JD Motorsports Chevrolet, and you're watching All Pro Broadcasting.
Did your little storm knock out the power? Well, excuse me for not noticing.
Welcome back, race fans, to the Domino's CYJ Racing Premier Xfinity Series Impact 250. Live on All Pro Broadcasting here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Ray, these guys are getting ready for the restart. Looks like we got Gerald Campbell, Curtis Young, Nick Reynolds, Kyle Cameron, David Wright, Shane Parrish, Gio Bramante, Mark Jackson, Martin McFadden up to 9th, and Donald Stewart up to 10th. I'll let you take this restart. This is going to be surely exciting for the next. Looks like we got about 41 laps to go. Go ahead.
Sure, we got Gerald Campbell comes out to a big jump on the outside again. Curtis Young falls in the line in second. Nick Reynolds looks like he's going to follow into third. Kyle Cameron being fourth going into turn one. We got David Wright pushes up a little bit. Shane Parrish drives right underneath him going through turn one. And he's going to be followed by, what is that, the 66 of Jack Watts.
Exactly. And Nick Reynolds is right on the bumper of Curtis Young, trying to push him down the back stretch into the corner. And looks like Gerald Campbell on the outside, Curtis Young to the inside. They get close. They are side by side. Looks like Gerald backs out just a hair. Curtis will take over the lead. See if the 35 of Gerald Campbell can do the crossover coming back out. It looks like
Curtis extends the lead pulling off at turn four. And I've been waiting for this a long time, Robert, but I just want to say I wonder if he's going to check out.
Oh, well, I like that, the Canadian accent. I don't know if he's going to be able to check out or not, because we got some very, very talented drivers. Gerald Campbell is hungry to get a win here in this series. And don't rule out Nick Reynolds. He's got a couple of wins, but he is a very talented driver. He gets a great run off the corner. He's going to pull to the inside of Gerald Campbell. Looks like going to the back stretch. This is going to be where he's going to make that move. Actually, he falls back behind the 35 like you're talking about. And that gives a 51 of Kyle Cameron. As Nick Reynolds looks back to the inside, Gerald Campbell closes the door. Nick is going to try the outside. That's going to be hard to do. He just barely gets into him.
Oh, and he comes around. Doesn't touch anything.
Great save by the 35 of Gerald Campbell. I am sure he is not very happy.
Big wreck on the front stretch.
Oh. We're going to get the replay pulled up real quick here, fans. Just give us a second. It looks like the 42 was involved, as well as the 89 of Gio Bramante. And the previous incident, the 35, just checked up a tad. The 10 got into him. He was able to not have an accident there. Well, actually, he spun out but did not cause the caution. The caution came out here, and it looks like the 89 did not know if he was clear. Maybe he thought it's clear. Was clear. Maybe the spotter told him it was clear. Who knows? We can't hear in these headsets of these drivers, but it looks like he went to move up in front of the 42 of David Wright. At this point of the race, these drivers are not going to give much room at all, especially when they are looking to make a position. And unfortunately, the room was not there.
Yeah, that's a tough one right there. I mean, I'm looking at what went on there. I mean, he was clear for just a fraction of the second, making the pass there, and then, you know, the 42 being on the high side, got a little bit better run off the corner, and you know, that's a matter of inches right there, and I couldn't fault either guy on that one. That's just racing.
Yeah, it was definitely very, very close. Unfortunately, at the end of the night for the 42 of David Wright, he's had a couple of really good runs. And what are you seeing on pit road, if anything, on pit road?
I'm not seeing anything on pit road right now at all, Robert. Doesn't look like anyone's pitting.
Yeah, I'm hearing some chatter about perhaps maybe they had already made the pit stops real fast there. Looks like the 51 faked coming in, but he stayed out.
Yeah, most two cars up front here stayed out. I do believe the first person first place to actually come in was Ray Richer in the 44 in ninth place. A whole bunch of guys behind him did. You know, all the guys running basically 9th to 15th there, but it looks like our top 8 stayed out.
Yep, and that's going to be interesting for the guys that did come down pit road to get some work done on their cars. If that got 4 fresh Goodyear Eagles, we're going to have, looks like, about 35 laps to go, 33 laps, 34 laps to go. So it's going to be very interesting to see if the new tires are going to pay off or not. Sorry, James.
No, that's all right. They only had about 2 green flag laps on that run, so I don't think the new tires will make that much of a difference yet. You might see something right at the middle or end of the run, but I think you've got your faster car now, or your faster cars are up towards the front. Looking up here, you got Curtis Young up front in first. You got Nick Reynolds in second. He's been fast all night. Shane Parrish in the 81, he led most of our early laps in the race. Looked like he was trying a little bit of fuel strategy, got shuffled back in the pack, but now he's straight up in the front there. Kyle Kammer coming from way in the back up to the front. He's sitting in fourth. We got Donald Stewart, Judd Danielson, Ivan Garcia, Gary Sexton, Joe Johnson, and Ray Richer make up your top 10. So I think your fastest cars are all still up towards the front. Be real interesting to see if the 10 has what it takes to get around the 94 here, or if Curdy's going to hold him off, or if the 81 is going to return to the form he had early in the race.
Yeah, I tell you what, it's going to be hard to know. That's exactly why you watch these complete races. And obviously, fans, if you made your pick for the free pizza, we're hoping you're able to watch the completion of this race, not only for the entertainment, but to find out if you're the one who wins the pizza, because I do not track you down. I do not try to find out where you are to award your pizza. Once you've won the pizza, it is your responsibility to get me your phone number, which most of the time is through a text message, which I've already got it. And if you're in the live chat, obviously you're watching the race, you've heard me give the phone number out many times, 919-883-7497. And that's exactly how you will be able to contact me once you've heard at the end of the broadcast that you actually did win the pizza. to make the arrangements to get it either tomorrow night, Saturday night, Sunday night, before the next Thursday night's race.
Yeah, you're gonna have to forgive me, Robert. I'm laughing, but I hear somebody must have sent you your number while you were talking there, because I heard the phone go off.
Yeah, exactly. I did not turn that down. Pardon me, fans, for that. But we have got a slew of people who have made picks tonight. You're just gonna have to tune in to find out who actually wins the race. It's gonna be very interesting to see, and also who wins the free pizza.
All right, so we're looking at one to go here. Sitting on lap 64. All these cars will have to pit one more time for fuel. Probably 4 Goodyear tires, 2 cans of fuel to get them here to the end. So now the question is, do you take this and do you break it up into even, or do you try and run out a little longer and see if you catch a caution to keep you out front? I love this race, man. There's been so many different ways to play the strategy tonight. It's kept us on our toes.
Yes, sir. If you will let me know how this restart acts, I'll let you take the restart.
Well, actually, we'll see. I don't think we've got to crank it up tonight. Maybe we'll see if our producer Michael here can cue that up for us on this restart.
I've got a feeling we do not have it here at Indy, but I would love to have it.
Well, how about this? How about you make the motor sounds and I'll make the tire screeching sounds, and we'll get it done.
Okay, we can try that. Let me get my other high-tech device. Give me just a second.
No, this ought to be real interesting here, race fans, and I promise I won't make any tire screeching noise. I'm sure you don't want to hear them as much as I don't want to make them.
Yeah, we like to hear that in real life, and obviously these drivers that are in these cars, they can hear it. And when you're actually racing, you can hear it, and you're watching the rebroadcast. And we'll have Crank It Up here in a few weeks. We've had it many times. It's an incredible feature. You do not want to miss it.
And here we go. Curtis Young taking the restart from the inside this time. I think it's the first time the leaders picked the inside lane. And he gets a good jump. He gets out to about a 3-car gap even before they get to the start-finish line. Down into one, Shane Parrish is on the inside of the 51 of Kyle Kammer. They're still side by side through the middle of 1 and 2, and he clears them going into 2. And Judd Danielson sticks his nose under him as well.
Yeah, I tell you what, these guys know we've got less than 35 laps to go. It's not exactly go time, and I'm not sure how the fuel strategy is going to work out here, but you definitely want to get as many positions as you can if you can do it cleanly.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm looking at Gary Sexton sticking his nose under, looking for 5th, and Kyle Kammer back to 6th. I'm looking back about 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th. We've got two car wide, 3-4 rows back towards the middle of the field here.
Yes, they are definitely mixing it up. And they are side by side going into turn number 1. Looks like they're giving each other plenty of room. And the 3 of Mark Jackson's getting a great run on the 73 of Jeremy Crandall. He gets right down on the rumble strips. It looks like he's not going to make any contact. He's going to try to get around him going down this straightaway here. But Jeremy Crandall's definitely got the preferred line. It'll be interesting to see if he backs out and gives Mark Jackson at number 3 the position. Looks like he is. Smart man.
Looking up front, we just had to pass the lead here. Nick Reynolds went in completely under the 94 Curtis Young going into turn 3. Cleared him easily and beginning to stretch his lead as they come out onto the main stretch.
Yeah, that was a very, very good clean pass. And that's going to give us a running order. We'll do through the field real quick here for the fans with these last 33 laps to go. We do have Nick Reynolds in that Southeast Motorsports Chevrolet Camaro number 10 in first. That's where he started. We've got Curtis Young in that number 94. Dive by Motorsports. Go Fast Energy Chevy Camaro in second position, number 94. Third, we got Shane Parrish in the Surf Pro in third. Fourth, we have Judd Danielson, a great move by Judd. He started, looks like, back in 11th. He's all the way up to fourth position. Great for Judd. He's in that Dominance 2YJ Racing Chevy Camaro, which does have all 4 broadcasting on the trunk. Fifth, we have Gary Sexton, that number 17. If I'm not mistaken, that's the Hex Cam sponsored Toyota Camry. Number 6 position, we've got Kyle Cameron, that number 51 Interstate Batteries Ford Mustang GT. 7th, we've got Donald Stewart, has moved all the way up. He's got that in memory of number 78 Camaro of his son. Ray Richer, he's in that number 44. He's made a big move up to the top. He's in 8th position now. Looks like Ray started back in 15th. He's running a very, very smart race. 9th, we have Jack Watts, Southeast Motorsports number 66. 10th position, Gerald Campbell. That's a good rebound after that spin earlier. Of course, the caution came out right after that, which helped him stay on the lead lap. But he was leading the race there for a while, and he's definitely going to make a charge to the front. 11th, we've got Joe Johnson, that IRAP's number 83, as he does get passed right now by the number 3 of Mark Jackson in that Chevrolet Camaro. So that'll put Jeremy Crandall in 14th. Skipping a couple of cars here, I guess. 13th would be Ivan Garcia in that McDonald's Mustang GT with Reese's on the back. 15th, we have Sean Kalis. That talked a whole lot about him. He's running very comfortably in the top 15. He's in that Wells Fargo, beautiful paint job also. By the way, by Tanner Tallarico Paints and Designs. That's a Mustang GT number 45. Hillary Queen is in 16th. He's got quite a bit of damage on that impact car, Mustang GT, but he is going to maintain hopefully a top 20, if not a top 15 finish out of this race. 17th, we have Rusco in that 420. Trailer Trash, lot 420, that is his band fans. Mustang GT, he's having a good run tonight. And that's basically the cars in the top 20 that are on the track.
Well, I tell you, I look here, all the action right now, it seems to be sitting back here. Right around the 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th position. Big gaggle of cars. I see Mark Jackson actually putting a nose in under Ray Richer. He'll clear him going into 1. Now, Jeremy Campbell was just a part of that group. He's checked out from those guys. He's now challenging the 78 of Donald Stewart as they come off of turn 2.
Wow, yeah, these guys that have moved from the back of the pack or the middle of the pack up front, they are racing hard, trying to get as many positions as they can. I'm looking to see, it looks like, if I had to make a call, the winner's going to come out of somebody in the top 5 or 6 right now. But I can't really say that because Kyle Cameron at 51, Gerald Campbell might make his way all the way back up to the front. Who knows, we could have a surprise winner, or not really a surprise, first-time winner in Ray Richer. Mark Jackson would love to get a win here in the Xfinity Series. Like you said earlier, when he gets in the victory circle or a top finish in the top 3, he's incredible for an interview, and we do have another caution.
Well, and I see we've got a caution out on the speedway.
Yeah, fans, give us just a couple of seconds. We'll get that replay pulled up. Looks like the 83, which would be Joe Johnson in the IRAPS machine. We'll see exactly what happened to him. Looks like he was going into the corner. He had a mirror full of the 17 of Jeremy Crandall. Actually looks like he was trying to get on pit road. Or am I missing something? Yeah, he was trying to get on pit road.
Looks like he road and locked him up, and the car just turned left on him, right into the inside wall.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened, fans, and we're going to take our last and final quick commercial break. We'll be right back, fans, to give you the conclusion of this race, including who wins the free Domino's Pizza. Again, you are watching the Impact 250 Business Process Optimization for Growing Companies, fans, on All Pro Broadcasting. We'll be back in just a minute.
More than impressive, I have to say. I mean, the track is identical to the real track. I was blown away how realistic it is. Every little bump, every little spray paint, everything is exactly like you were there at the track. It was a great experience. This is a warm-up lap now. Tires to get warmed up. The engine. Breathe a little bit here when you go through that little bump there. and then it's flat pretty much all the way through here, just about. Hard braking. This is the slowest part of the track. And then I've done, I did many races in Formula 3, Formula 2, and then I did the very last race they did there in Group C in 1983 in the 956 Porsche. That's when Beloff got the lap record at the 6:11. I think I was second on the grid with the 6:14 or something, which was, those cars were awesome around there, of course, like any car is, that speed. And this is the corner of all corners here, the Schwerenkreuz. Flat all the way into it. And then trail brake all the way into the apex here. And then hard at it again, get good speed down the hill here. Mega fast down this hill here. Just jump from one apex to the next. Gotta be super precise here. It's almost exactly like the real thing. So, it is certainly realistic enough to get past the very, a lot of the initial hurdles you have when you try to learn to drive a race car, So, I think it's an excellent tool to learn how to race for sure, or learn to drive a car on a racetrack.
You're watching All Pro Broadcasting with
Freedom Train.
Welcome back, race fans, to the Domino's TYJ Racing Premier Xfinity Series Impact 250 live on All Pro Broadcasting. These drivers have had another chance to come down pit road and have some adjustments, but first we're going to talk to a driver who was leading the race just a short time ago. Gerald Campbell, this is Robert and James Ross in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir, I do.
A couple quick questions. How does your car feel? You led a few laps there, had a slight incident where you made a little contact, you spun but didn't hit anything. Luckily, the caution came out shortly thereafter. You were back on the lead lap, and what are your chances for winning this race?
I'm not sure with the chances, to be honest with you. It's going to be fun regardless. I have a it didn't do any damage to the car whatsoever, and it was at least a top 3, if not potentially the leader since the 89's out. And just going to be interesting getting through all this traffic. It's been a fun so far.
Yes, sir, Gerald. We'll wish you all the luck and take care. We'll talk to you later.
All righty, can't wait to see the finish of this.
Yes, sir. Thanks, Gerald. All right, James, if you will go over what you saw on pit stops and take this restart.
Well, we're coming into turn 3 here now, but I did notice that the number 3 of Mark Jackson, number 73 of Jeremy Crandall did not fit there. Talk along pit lane is some of these guys can make it on fuel, some of these guys can't. So it'll be real interesting to see if fuel comes into this. Obviously, those 2 in front cannot make it. The thought is if you go all out and race as hard as you can, about 23, 24 laps is what you can do. I've heard guys going as many as 28, 29, or 30. So we'll see how this plays out as the pace car has its lights off.
It looks like the pace car is making a hard left turn. Mark Jackson gets a great jump on the restart here on the outside. He's in that number 3. I'm not sure if he's led any laps tonight, but right now he's in the lead. He's got a mirror full of Nick Ribbons in that number 10. Both of these are Southeast Motorsports teammates. As Curtis Young threads the needle there between the 73 and the 17 back in 4th position.
Well, what he did, though, is he slid up. He left a hole there, and it looks like the 81 of Shane Parrish is going to fill that hole. He's just about to his rear quarter there, but Curtis will clear him halfway down the backstretch here.
And we got 3 wide behind him with Gerald Campbell, Ray Richard, and Gerald Campbell backs out of it. Actually, that middle car, Donald Stewart backs out, and they're able to make that corner with no contact.
Wow, that was a smart move right there. You can't go through these corners 3 wide here.
Oh my goodness.
Pulling on to pit road. What happened?
Yeah, breaking news. The 10 must have had a speeding penalty at some point. He's back down pit road.
He's that car all night. That's going to kill him.
And that gives Mark Jackson, that number 3 Intimidator Camaro, a huge lead. He's got at least, 10 cars? There's there 2, 3 wide. A big blanket over these cars trying to catch him. The 81 Shane Parrish, 94 of Curtis Young on the outside, Jeremy Crandall, 17 Gary Sexton. Looks like the 35 involved. Gerald Campbell caught up to him.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, fans, we're going to bring that replay up as soon as we can. It definitely looks like a very interesting thing. There it looks like the 73 was involved. We've got the, to his inside it looks like the 17. The 35. Just talked to Gerald Campbell, unfortunately.
Wow. It looked like Gerald might escape the early one, but there was no escape in that one.
Yeah, that's something else.
It looked like the 73 saw the 95 pull up in front of him and went to move down, not realizing there was someone below him, and then unfortunately started that mayhem.
Yeah, those 2 cars came together. 73 came just a hair. I'm actually looking at it from on board of the 17. And it definitely looks like the 17 is holding his line about as perfectly straight as he can. So yeah, that definitely caused a big crash. 73, 17, 35. Looks like the 51 of Kyle Cameron got just a grazing blow on his left side, but I think he'll be okay.
Well, I'll tell you what happened there too. I'm thinking the 73 didn't realize they were 3 wide there, and thought if he moved down to 17 to give him some room. But there was, obviously the 35 has a nose on the 17. 17 couldn't move down for him, and unfortunately, it's racing, Robert. It's accidents happen. They call them that for a reason.
Exactly. And sometimes this is just a matter of inches or, not even feet where these guys get involved. So it looks like some guys are on pit road. If you will cover that, we'll see if they're going to be able to fill these tanks up and make it to the end.
I see. Looks like the 81 of Shane Parrish has come down pit road. 17 of Gary Sexton, most likely for repairs. Jay Queen in the 62. Judd Danielson in the 85. James Somke in the 1. Sean Kalis in the 45 have all hit pit road here. Curtis Young has hit pit road. And yeah, so those guys are obviously gambling on fresh tires. I'm pretty sure the caution takes the fuel thing out of the window for the fuel window out of it for everybody except for maybe Mark Jackson up front. So these guys are obviously coming for tires, worried about that fall off late in the run, and they're going to try and run from the back up to the front here.
Yes, James, thanks a lot. It's definitely going to be interesting to see if the tires are going to make a big difference or not. Now, the people left in the top 10 here, what are you thinking here for the race there, Ray? I mean, James, excuse me.
I'm looking up here. Mark Jackson's got about 10 green flag laps on those tires right now. I think he's pretty much going to end up a sitting duck at the end of the race here. I'm looking at the 81 of Shane Parrish. He's been quick all night. I think he should be in good shape. The 94 Curtis Young is also somebody I can see coming up to the front. Or maybe we get something, a little bit of surprise. We haven't heard much from the 44 Ray Richer all night, and he's sitting there in third, kind of quietly worked his way to the front all night from the 15th starting position. So, hey, maybe Ray can put one notch on the bedpost tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. We're definitely pulling for a new winner. We're pulling for a repeat winner, too. Either way, we'd love to have it. And there definitely has been a lot of green flag racing tonight. Obviously been some hard racing, some close calls, a little bit of contact that are just unavoidable. Like you just said, that's why they call them accidents.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what really surprised me here is, we knew Mark Jackson was short on fuel. I figured now he knows he's well within his window. I'm really shocked he didn't come down for fuel and tires there. Maybe he knows something we don't. Maybe he's expecting a few more cautions that'll stretch him out enough to make it, but that'd be an awfully big ask.
Yeah, I tell you what, the truck win he didn't earn earlier this season, the Denton Fender Truck Series, that's basically exactly what he did. He was able to,
and you had to remind me of that one, didn't you?
Yeah, unfortunately, I didn't know if you were the guy that came in second to him that race or not, but he definitely was able to work the strategy perfect. Sometimes it does work, sometimes it doesn't, and I've seen him try it a few other times and it not work.
Yeah, I mean, it's a gambler's game, and I mean, I was actually on the losing end of that one that night, so hats off to Mark. He got a lot more out of it than I could that night. Still not quite sure how he did it, so we know he's good at saving fuel. I just don't think he could save this much. So take a look, give you a rundown of where we stand right now. Mark Jackson is still your leader in the number 3 car, the Intimidator-looking car. Awesome looking hood on that, the over-the-top paints. 51 of Kyle Kammerer, he's sitting in second. Ray Richer in the 44 is sitting third. Ivan Garcia is kind of quietly snuck up to the 4th position. Rusco sitting in 5th. Gerald Campbell in the 35 sitting 6th. Shane Parrish in the 81 sitting 7th. Curtis Young in the 94 sitting 8th. Donald Stewart in the 78th is running 9th. And Judd Danielson in the 85 will wrap up your top 10.
Thank you so much there. We did want to mention real quick, we do have our good friend Mark Jackson in the lead. We do want to do a favor for his fiancee Kristen Phillips on the live chat. Wants us to give Mama Patty a shout out. So hello, Mama Patty. We're happy you're watching tonight. Hopefully, Mark will get it in Victory Lane, and you'll be here watching it to be able to see. And we'll have to find out if Mama Patty, you made your pick earlier. I have to review those when the race is over. But we do want to say hello to Mama Patty, who is in the chat with Kristen Phillips watching the race.
Yeah, we're gonna have to ask Mama Patty what she likes on her pizza if Mark can pull this one off.
Yeah, exactly. I think they should order exactly what she wants, even if it's cheese.
Well enough. Hey, one more thing on a more serious note. Ray Richard in the 44, I mean, he spent time in the booth with us, and he's one of our veteran racers here. He did lose a family member this week, Ed Richard, Omar, so I saw that he put that up on Facebook, so just a shout out to the Richard family, and some prayers headed their way for their loss.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for reminding us on that. I definitely missed that one big time at the beginning of this race. We did have a moment of silent lap on lap number 10. So, yeah, we all do want to remember him. And prayers going out to the Ray Richard family. All right, on this restart, looks like the pace car is in. I'll let you take it. Go ahead, James.
Mark Jackson from the outside line has gotten off to a huge jump, as the leader has all night. Kyle Cameron in second. And we've got Ray Richard looking for third, going into turn one.
And they are stacked up a little bit. It's like that's like the 35 of Gerald Campbell back in this race. Just barely touched the back end of Ray Richard. No harm, no foul. As Jackson screams down the backstretch. And these guys,
the third, Ray Richard. Some guys we don't always see up in the front, but they're doing it tonight. And Ivan's looking real racy. I mean, he's a guy who puts his age number on his car, so. Good to see him getting a good run tonight.
Yeah, I tell you what, he's got an excellent run. He's actually gaining positions here from that second place driver of Kyle Cameron, the number 51. And it is really good to see Ivan Garcia in that number 72. Like I said, two McDonald's cars. His is the McDonald's car with the Reese's on the trunk deck lid in the back. And he's definitely making the move towards the front. Good to see him up front.
Oh, sure. We've got Mark Jackson is up to a huge, probably about 15-car lead now. He's not saving any fuel right now. He's giving it all he's got. He's obviously planning on another caution, as I think he might have touched the wall off too, Robert.
The three of Mark Jackson?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it doesn't look like there's a lot of damage on the right side. I'm looking at it. We'll see if that slows his pace down at all, as the 72 of Ivan Garcia looks like he had a small moment there, had to get out of the gas, and that is going to let the Kyle Cameron get away from him, as well as Shane Parrish in that number 81 make a move around the 72. He continues to drop back, the 72 does.
Yeah, I'm thinking Ivan's got some kind of problem. He's been railroaded by about 4 cars since he went into turn 3 there, so I'm wondering if he's got a tire going soft or might have a suspension problem, because he's just going back in a hurry.
Yes, sir. He might have got up there in the marbles and got some of that debris, the loose marbles on the tires. That will always kind of mess you up. You've got to go a lap or two to get that cleaned off perfectly, and that can happen anytime.
No, absolutely. So we're looking out front here. Mark Jackson is out to about a 1.5 lead over the 51 of Kyle Cameron. Shane Parrish is sitting about 0.3 of a second behind him in third. Curtis Young about a 0.5 second behind him in fourth. As the battle will heat up here as we come down to the closing laps.
Yes, and back here for ninth position, we've got a huge battle. We've got Judd Danielson 85 in ninth position. We've got Nick Reynolds. He is in the 15, trying to get around Judd Danielson. We got Ivan Garcia in ninth, continuing to drop spots. Behind him, Gary Sexton, a little damage in 10th, trying to make a good run coming back. Then we've got, like I said, Ivan Garcia. Josh Bonwell is back up to 16th. You can throw a blanket over these cars. We've also got Jeremy Crampton in 73 and 11th. Russ Coe in that number 420 is back in 12th. He's waiting for a lane to go in, as these guys are 2, sometimes 3 wide in front of him. 13th, Sean Kalis is having a great run in that Wells Fargo Mustang. He's also waiting for some clearance in front of him. And literally Queen is still in this race in 14th.
Well, and as you're speaking there, Robert, the 51 of Kyle Cameron, he may be having some difficulty. He got passed by both Shane Parrish and Curtis Young in that lap. Actually, Shane drove around him on the outside going into 1. So the 51 may have a little bit of damage, but he's managing it. He still sits in 4th.
Yes, and am I missing something? Did the 81 of Shane Parrish also get around Curtis Young in the 94? Are some of these drivers still trying to save a little bit of fuel?
At this point, the drivers that pitted aren't saving anything. They've got plenty of fuel to make it. The only one who I would expect to try and be saving is Mark Jackson, but judging by that lead he has now at 2.3 seconds, he is balls to the wall and as hard as he can go.
So, did anybody else stay out other than the 3?
The 73 also stayed out, but he's fallen way back. He's sitting in the 10th position right now.
Gotcha. Thanks for that update. Obviously, sometimes I miss a few things. Pretty much all the time I miss a few things. Y'all are just lucky this ship sails pretty straight every single Wednesday, Thursday, and Sunday night, and that would not happen without the help of some great people like Michael Levinko with All Pro Broadcasting. Again, fans, if you're watching right now, thank you so much. Make sure you click that subscribe button. And also thank you, James Ross, for stepping up in the booth helping me out tonight, as well as all the other commentators we have. I'll name them off at the end of the race, some of them right now. Ray Richard helps out quite a bit. Curtis Young helps out quite a bit. I'm always going to forget somebody. We've had Tanner Talrico in the booth once or twice. Who am I missing there? Gary Sexton helps us out. Yeah, Gary helps us out on Sunday nights. Yep, exactly. So thanks to all those guys, as well as all the admins that do all the work behind the scenes to help make this thing work. Because it's definitely not a one-man show. It is a dozen-man show. And we do have another woman. That would be the wife of Tim Renters. She steps in and helps as well in some of the commentating. And Michelle is going to almost slap me for almost forgetting her name, but Tim and Michelle Renders there, great people, and like I said, all these people make this thing work out as well as it does, as well as you two fans. That's one reason we give these pizzas away. We appreciate you taking time out of your family life. Hopefully your whole family's gathered around your big screen TV, which you can watch these things through YouTube on a big screen TV. Yes, I'm low tech. I just figured that out about 6 months ago, but we're happy you're here, and we hope you win that free pizza tonight, if not next week and Sunday night. By the way, real quick, before we get to the end of this race, I want to get back, we don't have another caution. This coming Sunday night, James, you might have to help me with the date. Tonight's the 20th, so that would be the 23rd, I think. We're having a double header on All Pro Broadcasting. We have not done this before on a Sunday night. We're doing a makeup race. The first race, around 7 p.m. Eastern, will be the rescheduled Domino's TYJ Racing Dentage Fenders Eldora Truck Points Race. Fans, you do not want to miss that. If you saw the real live Camping World Series truck race at Eldora last night, you're going to get a repeat with maybe even more excitement. It's going to be very exciting for all of the truck drivers in that race, and they're going to be racing for points as well. Immediately following that race, we're going to have our first Renegade Dirt Series Championship in the 360 sprint cars. The battle is pretty tight in the top 2 or 3 there in that series, and those guys are going to be racing also at Eldora, and the winner of that race will win the race, but he may or may not win the championship. You'll have to tune in to find out. And because it is a doubleheader, we're going to be giving away 2 free pizzas this coming Sunday night, so make sure you tune in, fans.
It should be a lot of fun. Sounds like a dirty doubleheader. That's one race. I mean, I love running the trucks on the dirt. Actually, I'm going to try and make it back to that one. I'm not sure if I'm going to make it because I'll actually be running the dirt with my son on Sundays, so it'll be interesting. But looking out front here, we've got Shane Parrish has now pulled the lead, Mark Jackson down almost a second. He's gaining on him in a hurry. And I'm not sure if Mark's had enough fuel anyway, but right now this race looks like Shane Parrish is to lose.
Yes, I tell you what, like we talked about earlier, so many things go into winning one of these races, and we still have 9 laps to go. And Shane does look like he's got the car to win it if Mark has to come down pit road to have a splash of fuel. But if we do have another caution, who knows? This could be Mark Jackson's, because on the restart, if he's the leader, then he would definitely get a jump on the field. If we got 3 laps to go, it's going to make it interesting.
I gotta tell you, if I was Mark right now, I'd be looking at the world through yellow colored shield, because that'd be what I want to see. But that's it. He's stretched it further than we thought before, so don't rule him out here if it stays green. But right now, Shane is really making up a ton of time. He's cut it down from 2.3 seconds to 1.1. He's coming.
Yes, I can understand exactly what he's trying to do. I can also understand what the number 3 of Mark Jackson is trying to do here in the race. And hopefully he'll be able to pull it out, because we definitely do not want Mama Patty to be disappointed in Mark Jackson, because Mama Patty might not understand. A lot of these drivers understand a lot of things tonight. Judd Danielson understands. Chad Payne understands. Jill Campbell understands. But we don't know if Mama Patty's going to understand if she didn't get her free pizza.
I hear that. I don't want to give a shout out right now. Looking back in the field, the 78 of Donald Stewart is battling Kyle Kammer real hard for the 4th position. Donald's come from way, way, way back in the field, starting in 22nd position, so good to see him having a good run.
Yes, that is very good to see him having a good run. As well as Josh Bonwell, though he's, I think, a lap down 16. Judd Danielson having a great run in 6th. Jill Campbell had issues in 7th. Gary Sexton had issues earlier. He's in 8th. Going to have a top 10 finish, maybe a top 5.
Oh, Robert, I was just looking up here at the front, and oh my goodness. Shane Parrish was all over the back of the 3 of Mark Jackson, and Mark went around. Have to take a good look at this.
Yes, fans, give us just a minute to pull up that replay. It looks like the 81 of Shane Parrish. Looks like Shane had a lot of closing speed. And it looks like coming out of that corner. And absolutely looks like the 81 and the 3 got together there. I'll let you go ahead.
Definitely got together. The question here is that a factor of the 3 trying to save fuel to make it to the end, or is that the question of the 81 just being auto-regressive?
Yeah, I'm going to check this out. If you will continue on, it'll give me just a minute.
Sure, I'm taking a look here with the running order. I mean, right now we're showing the 81 of Shane Parrish in 1st, the 94 of Curtis Young in 2nd, 51 of Kyle Kammer running 3rd, Donald Stewart in the 78 running 4th. Mark Jackson, even with the spin, is sitting in 5th. Judd Danielson in the 85 is sitting 6th. Joe Campbell in the 35 is sitting 7th. Gary Sexton in the 17 is sitting 8th. Jeremy Crandall in the 73 is sitting 9th. And Ray Richer in the 44 is sitting 10th. Ellery Queen in the 62 sitting 11th. The 420 of Russ Coe is sitting 12th. 45 of Shane Kalis is sitting 13th. And 72 of Ivan Garcia rounds out our lead lap cars. He's running at 14th. Looks like Nick Reynolds in the 10 will be getting a free pass there, and he will actually be coming back to the lead lap. He's been one of the quicker trucks all night.
Absolutely, that'd be good for him. So this caution is going to benefit a few people. Some other people it is not going to benefit. It's definitely going to shape up for a very, very exciting restart and conclusion of this race.
Yeah, it should be real interesting now. It looks like we'll probably have about a 3-lap shootout to end this thing. So I'm thinking this is going to be all bets are off, and a lot more of what I'm used to from the Northeast up here, like modified racing, where you got to use the chrome horn and move people to get what you need.
Yeah, I tell you what, these guys are more or less like you hear. They got what they got. And they're going to have to do what they got to do to win this race.
I'm hearing a lot of chatter on the driver radios. They're all looking forward to this. This should be real fun. I'm taking a look here, folks, and sees the 81 has been given an end-of-line penalty for aggressive driving here. So, yeah, he'll be going to the back of the longest line here. Gonna take away a possible win, but he's still on the lead lap. He's still got a chance to race for it, so it should be interesting. That's going to change our lineup here. It's going to put Curtis Young up in the lead with Kyle Kammer, Donald Stewart, Mark Jackson, Judd Danielson, all right behind him, hungry for that win.
I tell you what, it's going to be very interesting for sure.
I'll tell you, I'd love to be a fly on the wall in the 81's pit right now and hear some of their thoughts. I'm sure they can't be happy with the call, but the race officials' decision is final here, and it's not open for debate. So.
Yeah, definitely is going to be interesting to see on this restart. Looks like Curtis Young will be the leader. Kyle Kammer will be second. Donald Stewart third.
Okay, you'll have Mark Jackson will restart here in fourth. Judd Danielson will restart in fifth. Jeremy Crandall will restart in sixth. And that's pretty much where you're looking here on this restart. I mean, your first three rows, it's pretty much where your winner's going to be coming from here. So, real interesting to see. I think the 81 is taking 4 tires right now. He'll be coming from the back with a little chip on his shoulder, so we'll see what comes from that. But I'm looking forward to an exciting end to this race, Robert. And I'm sorry, Robert is tied up with a little bit of his admin duties here, so ladies and gentlemen, this ought to be very, very interesting. I don't know who you guys have picked for that pizza, but it's pretty much a toss-up at this point. So good luck to you all, and start thinking about those toppings.
Yeah, I'm happy to see guys getting excited and passionate about what they're doing, because these guys put a lot of time into what we're doing here. And it's good, clean, hard racing, and sometimes penalties have to be handed down, and sometimes I have to be the bad guy, but I'm okay with that. And anyway, we're trying to bring the fans, you guys, and the drivers a great race, which we've had tonight. And this restart's going to be amazing. We're going to have, what did you say, James? 2 laps to go to the end of the race?
It's going to be a 3-lap shootout here. So they'll get a green, and then 1 lap they'll pick up the white, and then the checkers. So it ought to be real interesting. 3 laps is actually a lot of time on these restarts. A lot can happen. So I advise you guys to buckle up your seatbelts and hold on for the ride.
Yeah, it looks like here for these last couple of laps, we got Curtis Young, Kyle Kammer, Donald Stewart moved up smartly, Mark Jackson, Judd Danielson, Jeremy Crandall, Ellery Quain, Russ Coe, Ivan Garcia, and Ray Richard rounding out the top 10. And I tell you what, Kyle Kammer has had a clean race. He started in 20th, no qualifying time, as well as Curtis Young started back in 21st, and it looks like Donald Stewart started in 22nd. So 1, 2, 3 started 20, 21, 22. So this is going to be a show to see which one of these guys can win this race. Hopefully, we'll find out in just a minute. I'll let you take the restart.
Oh, absolutely. One guy to keep an eye on, and certainly we moving here. The 10 of Nick Reynolds just got back on the lead lap, our full qualifier today. He's going to be real fast, so be interesting to see where he ends up this thing. Should make it exciting. Pace car is pulling down the pit road, and Curtis Young gets a huge jump. Mark Jackson will follow him in a second on the high side. Or Willie. Curtis Young out to a huge lead going into 1 as Kyle Kammer and Mark Jackson are fighting side by side as they enter going into 1.
Yes, and they are battling here. They got right behind them a couple of cars that are trying to get around. We got Judd Danielson back in the 6th position.
Oh, and they're wrecking! They're wrecking! Oh! And that's going to be it. That is all she wrote tonight, boys and girls.
Yes, give us just a second. We're going to pull up the replay here and see exactly what happened. Looks like to me, what did you see actually?
I'm just pulling it up right now to see what happened.
Yeah, it looks like the 62, the 17, and the 10 were involved. So it looks like the race will end under caution. If you will go through, if you can tell us how it's looking as far as that goes, the top 10 guys.
Oh, sure. Waiting for this to cycle around yet. But your winner tonight will definitely be Curtis Young in the 94 car. Curtis started in the 21st position. Kyle Kammerer in the 51. He'll finish second. Mark Jackson in the 3 car will finish third. Donald Stewart with a great run for him. He's up in fourth. Jeremy Crandall also with a great run for him. He's up in fifth. Judd Danielson in the 85 will finish 6th. Ray Richer in the 44 will finish 7th. Nick Reynolds in the 10, he restarted 14th after just getting his lap back. He actually finishes in 8th tonight. The number 420 of Russ Coe will finish 9th. Number 62 of Ellery Queen right now looks like he'll be sitting in the 10th position. Number 35 of Gerald Campbell will be finishing 11th. Number 72 of Ivan Garcia will finish 12th. Sean Kalis in the 45 will finish 13th. And Josh Bonwell in your 56 should finish out 14th. I believe that finishes out our lead lap cars.
Yeah, thank you there, James. Anything else you're seeing as far as the other drivers and how they're finishing in the order?
It's real hard to tell. Oh, I'm sorry. Actually, somebody must have lost a lap there. But now I've got Sean Kalis will actually finish in the 13th position, and Gary Sexton will be your last lead lap car, finishing in the 14th position. Josh Bonwell in the 56 will finish 15th. Shane Parrish in the 81 is 16th. Jack Watts in the 66 is 17th. James Somke in the 1 is 18th. Chad Payne in the 9 is 19th. Joe Johnson in the 83 is 20th. Giovanni Bermonti in the 89, one of our early fast cars, he finishes 21st. 42 of David Wright will finish 22nd. 67 of Mark McFadden will finish 23rd.
Yeah, thank you so much. Go ahead.
Will finish 24th. And Mark Fravert in the 18 will round out our finishing order in the 25th position.
Thank you so much there, James. It looks like if these guys complete these laps, I'll be getting these guys ready for the interviews of the top 3. Good race there by Curtis Young, Kyle Camel, Mark Jackson, as well as all these other drivers. So we had some guys that started in the back, ended up with a good finish. Some guys started up front, finished in the back with a poor finish. But that's exactly what racing will bring you every single time. And it'll be interesting to see what these guys say in the interviews.
It'll be interesting for sure, Robert. I mean, there's a lot of ups and downs in this races. You know, guys coming to the front, guys going to the back and forth, fuel strategies and tire strategies and everything else. So, ought to be real interesting interviews tonight.
Yeah, I tell you what. I tell you who I'm the most impressed by. Kyle Kammerer. Like I said, he started back in 21st. He finishes second, which is going to be his second victory, which is great for him. He won earlier at Watkins Glen. Another driver I'm really impressed with is the number 78 of Donald Stewart. He's got a great finish in third. We've also got Jeremy Crandall, like you said. He started 26, finishes fourth. He's going to have a great jump in the points because he was, looks like 8th. Yeah, he was, 8th in points coming into the race. So he's going to have a great points night. And sometimes that's what happens. Ray Richards finishes 6th. He's going to have a great jump in points as well, because coming into the race, looks like Ray started in 9th. Unfortunately, Jeff Martin did miss the race due to the loss in his family, so he's probably going to lose some points, probably drop out of the top 10. But yeah, as we are finishing up the race here, we're going to get these drivers ready for interviews.
Yeah, just taking a look going down our points here. I mean, I see Gary Sexton. He came home with a 13. He was our point leader. He came home with a 13th place position. He had a 27-point cushion, but that's definitely not going to help his cause. And Jack Watson, the 66, he was second in our points. He came home with a 17th position finish. So should be a big shakeup of the points this week. A couple of guys towards the top with some poor finishes. A couple of guys, down a little further down with some good finishes. So this will tighten up here as we come towards our stretch run here.
Yes, sir. And in the broadcast booth, we've got Donald Stewart finished 3rd. James, if you will interview Donald.
Sorry about that.
Hey, Donald, this is James Ross. Nice to see you here up on a podium. How'd you wind up here tonight? It's not a position we normally see you in. Good to see you get a good finish, but what do you attribute your great finish to tonight?
Well, this is actually in the Charlotte Crown Jewel I finished 2nd, so this Crown Jewel I finished 3rd. So what my strategy was at the beginning of the race is just to see how the fuel run would go and see how my tires would wear and how they would last, taking it easy. And then I was really on a good fuel strategy until that 3rd, 4th caution came out with like 40 to go or something, and I was going to do one more pit, and some of the other guys were going to have to do 2 more pits, so we were kind of like saving fuel and hoping that was going to happen.
Yeah, I saw it look like you and a few of the other cars were definitely playing fuel strategy in the middle. When you're going to play a strategy like that and you got it set out and you think you're in a winning position, and then the caution comes out, what kind of reaction do you have to that as a driver?
Actually, we were kind of disappointed. We really wanted to see how our tires was going to be at the end of the run, taking it easy on that, matching it up with our fuel run, and trying to have the best wear at the end of that fuel run was what we was really trying to figure out.
I hear you. Well, great finish tonight. Really happy for you. Who makes it happen for the 78 car? Who do you want to thank for your finish tonight?
I want to thank Domino's, for putting this on, and Michael D'Amico Broadcasting, and all of the sponsors that take their time and money to allow us drivers to come out here and do what we do and have fun at doing that. And yeah, that's why I'm here. It's a great place to race.
Well, definitely. Well, great finish tonight, Donald. Job. Go celebrate with your crew, and we will catch you here in a couple of weeks at the next one.
Thank you, James.
I think, Robert, have you been able to catch up with Kyle Cameron yet?
Yes, sir. Thank you, James. I do have Kyle Cameron, the driver of that number 51 tonight, Interstate Battery sponsored car. Congratulations, Kyle, on the 2nd place finish. You started all the way back in 20th. Hopefully I got sponsoring your car correct. How was your race? And tell us how it went tonight.
Yeah, I missed qualifying, so I had to start from the back. And I knew I had a top 5 car just from practice, and was just patiently working my way through the field and kind of good on long runs. And then that last pit stop there, I slid through my box and ended up coming out 11th on a restart. And then when the 35 and whoever got together, they slid up and gave me some damage, and I think that took away my chance to win.
Yeah, this was a very exciting race. We were following you, a lot of the drivers all night long. You were up front quite a bit of the ways. I think it looked like you might have been saving fuel at one point, which a lot of the drivers were doing. But you definitely had a very, very fast hot rod there in the number 51. Who would you like to give special thanks out to for your 2nd place finish?
Yeah, I'd like to give thanks to Domino's TYJ for putting this league on. Have a blast here every week. Robert and Michael D'Amico, All Pro Broadcasting. James for stepping in the booth tonight. And Gabe and Ray and Joe Johnson and all those guys that are in the booth every other week or whatever it is. So thanks to everybody who puts this on. Really enjoy it.
Hey, thank you so much. I tell you what, a win at Watkins Glen, followed by a few weeks later, maybe 2 weeks later, the second place finish here. You're definitely bringing the heat in the second half of the season. It's going to be, I think you're going to be somebody the other drivers are going to have to contend with for this championship.
Yeah, that's our hope. We hope to be able to be around for the end. So,
hey, I appreciate it, Kyle. You have a great weekend. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
And now I think James Ross is down in Victory Circle with our winner. No surprise here. I'll let you take it away, James, with Curtis Young.
Absolutely. I'm down here in Victory Lane with the 94 of Curtis Young here. And Curtis, kind of a long, strange trip to get here tonight. How'd you end up here in Victory Lane?
Honestly, I have no idea, man. Like, I was pretty slow tonight. I was almost like, I was 3 to 4 tenths off the qualifying pace, and I messed up qualifying. Had to start at the back, and quite a few fast trucks got taken out tonight, or fast cars, sorry. Like Nick Reynolds and Mark Jackson, Shane Parrish, all those guys had issues. Gio Bromanti, all those guys were a lot faster than me tonight, and yeah, I guess it just worked out. Right place, right time for me tonight. This isn't one of my best tracks at all. I came into the night thinking a top 5 or a 10 would be all right, but yeah, everything just fell into place pretty much.
Oh yeah, you know as well as I do that's the way it happens sometimes. You know, you take the good fortune when you get it, and you take the bad when it comes, and that that's always the way it goes. I'm glad you had a good finish tonight. Yeah, you actually gave me a chance to say, Curtis is checking out. I got to practice my Canadian accent, so thanks for that. But while I'm thanking you for that, is there anybody you want to thank for your finish tonight? Who helped you get it done on the 94 car? Sorry.
First off, my older sister painted this car a couple weeks back. I think I've ran it in about 2 or 3 races so far. So thanks to her for painting this. Everybody at Domino's TYJ Racing, All Pro Broadcasting, Robert, Michael, D'Amico, and James, you're up there tonight. Thanks to you, and Ray Richer, everybody else who does that.
Very good. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I mean, I always called your car the Purple People Eater, but now it's a little bit of green and purple. It's not all purple anymore. But listen, glad to see you park it in Victory Lane, and congratulations on your great finish. And go celebrate with your crew, and we'll catch you in 2 weeks.
All right, cool. Thanks, James.
All right, well, that's it here from Indianapolis. Up and down race tonight, Robert. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I tell you what, it was up and down. What happens when you put a group of very talented, very competitive drivers into a situation where you're at a great big track, a very famous track with a very famous race, what we call a crown jewel event, which we have 4 of these every year in our Top Shelf Cup Series, as well as our Premier Xfinity and Den Fender Truck Series. These are the 4 chances a year for these drivers who do pay an entry fee after they qualify to race in Domino's TYJ Racing. It gives them a chance to win a little bit of a payout for first, second, and third, to get a little bit of that fee back. So a lot of drivers put a lot of hard effort, a lot of time into these races, and obviously they're going to battle hard, they're going to race hard. Sometimes they're going to take chances they might not take in other races, but that's what puts on great racing. And I just wanted to thank all these drivers for having a great race tonight. Yes, it was kind of boring, some fans would say, early in the race. We didn't have many cautions, but with the competitive racing near the end of the race where these drivers were trying to get every single position, I tell you what, I can't blame any of them in a big scale at all. These guys are racers. They're doing what they know how to do best. They're trying to get that top 3 finish, and they put on a great show. Some of the drivers are upset. We're going to work some things out, but it was a great race, I think, for the fans. It was a great race to watch, and the end of the day, James, we have some great drivers that don't always get a top 10 finish, show up with a top 10 finish, whether they make the top 3 or not for the payout. And again, I can't, say anything more than praise for all these drivers, because sometimes you have a lot of luck and you win races, get a top 5 or 10. You know that, James. Sometimes you can be the fastest car, and for other reasons you don't have a good finish. So these drivers will get over it. We'll go on to the next race. Thank you so much for being in the booth with me. Any other final thoughts you have?
No, I just this was kind of a fascinating race to call. I mean, there were so many ways this could have gone, and so many things that could have happened and should have happened, and maybe didn't happen, and then did happen. I mean, from a driver and a statistical and strategy point of view, I mean, this race was absolutely phenomenal. It's a track that things get spread out at a often number of times, and you don't necessarily get the racing like you get at a Bristol or a Darlington or even one of the mile-and-a-half tracks. But to me, this one was fascinating. Loved the twists and turns. If you asked me at any point in the race who I would have picked to win, I mean, at 15 different times, I could have given you 15 different answers. So, I mean, at the end of the day, if you can't figure out what's going to happen in the race and it's up in the air until the very last lap, I mean, that's a great race.
Yeah, thank you so much, James. And real quick, we do have the free pizza winner. Her name is Emily Hennett. She definitely picked Curtis Young. Probably has seen Curtis win a lot of races. She is from Charlotte, North Carolina, Emily is. And we'll get in contact and get her that free large 3-topping pizza for her and her family over the weekend. Again, thanks a lot, James. Thanks to Michael D'Amico for putting all these camera angles in here that are awesome. James Ross for being in the booth. All the drivers for being here. And more importantly, thank you, fans. You can find the doubleheader coming up this Sunday evening starting around 7 p.m. Eastern. You don't want to miss that. There'll be 2 free pizzas given away at that time. So for Michael D'Amico, James Ross, I am Robert McFarland with Domino's TYJ Racing. Thanks for watching, fans. Have a great, safe weekend, and hopefully we'll see you on Sunday night. Good night.